అరవిందమునాజూచి బ్రహ్మానందమానుభవించువారెందరో మహానుభావులు అందరికీ వందనములు ఎందరో మహానుభావులు.
That was my salute to all the greatest visionaries the world has ever seen. And before I start talking, I need a small favor from all of you. Can you all please stand up from your seats? Can you take a slow 360-degree turn? Like this? Everybody. Yeah, you can take your seats now. Did you know why I did that? I was talking to my dad yesterday and he said if I could move my audience with my talk, I would win. And you see, I already won. So, once upon a time, when I was 6 years old, my family was traveling to Calcutta by train. And I was sitting at the window of the moving train, looking at the sunset. And I remember asking my father this question, weird question. I said, Dad, the sun and the moon appear to be hanging in the sky without any support. So why don't they, cross each other's paths and destroy each other, explode? And he gave me this weird look, thinking, where did this silly kid pop up from? But he replied, saying it was not possible because the sun and the moon are far, far away from each other. But as a kid, I had this horrible habit of, questioning each of my father's answers with a why. And I sat there for an hour asking him as to why it was not possible for the moon to simply slip away from its place and go collide with the sun. As kids, while we grew up, we were all like that, right? We asked a lot of questions. We were curious enough to ask senseless and dumb questions, and at the same time, fearless enough not to think about embarrassment or failure in life. So, as I grew up, I wanted to become this jack of all trades. So, I picked up sketching, writing, music, dance, and acted in several school plays. But unluckily for me, I was also good at studies. So, naturally, after my 10th grade, I was sent to a mental asylum. For all the Hyderabadis here, do you know why? Yeah, for my IIT JEE preparation. And all my freedom was taken away, and I was in a sea of books, literally, for 2 years. It was exactly like Life of Pi. But instead of eating raw fish, I was eating, drinking, and breathing unsolved equations. And I knew survival was a state of mind, and I rowed my boat as hard as I could till I reached my island of hope. And in my case, the island was IIT Guwahati. And it was my kingdom of heaven, my pursuit of happiness. And once I reached there, all my freedom came back to me. And I could do whatever I wanted to do in life. So naturally, I was part of each and every random club on the campus. From robotics to arts, music, dance, theatre, film, and even the most famous kites club. Wait, what? Kites club? What do they even do? Fly kites once a year? But the point was, I was everywhere. Oh, who's this? I don't know who this guy is. That's definitely not me. I'm changing this one. Right? Anyways, my 4-year journey to this paradise ended with my placement in an MNC. And everybody else was like, dude, what else do you want? You got a software job in an MNC, man. You made it. You made it. And after working there for 2 years, I realized I was once again stranded on a boat in a never-ending ocean. And 2 years were down, and I had forever to go. So I decided I can't do this. I had to quit. And I started working on my own startup in film technology space, and then later on worked for a Silicon Valley-based startup as a product manager and designer. But the problem was I was still missing that 6-year-old fearless boy who was very curious in life to know everything, explore everything, understand everything about life. So, one fine day in 2016, I packed my bags, and started traveling across India in search of untold stories. I stayed in a Gurdwara, sung Sufi songs in a dargah in Ajmer. I meditated in Bodh Gaya, and I even took holy bath in the ghats of Varanasi. From trekking the Himalayas to camping in the remotest of Andamans, I had it all covered. And I stayed with people who knew nothing but desert sand all their lives. And also with people who didn't even know life existed outside the snow-capped mountains. The more time I spent with them, the more I wanted to express myself. I wanted to share stories about my experiences. Because frankly, after you die, the only thing that keeps you alive is your expression. And it was important for me to express myself in as many ways as possible. And film seemed to be the right way to do it. And why film, you may ask? Film is an amalgamation of multiple crafts and art forms. It brings together photography, writing, music, dance, theatre, fashion, and even marketing and business. Raise your hands if you have watched at least 10 films in the past 1 year. All of you, almost everybody. Since our childhood, films are what shaped us. They inspired us and put us all in awe. They even terrified and horrified us. Yet, we love them. Because they all tell us stories. A film can take you to an imaginary black hole which is billions of light years away. And at the same time, it can take you to the deepest of the depths under the oceans. A film can put you in the shoes of an inanimate object and make you cry. And if you ask me, film is the closest thing we have to a time machine. Do you agree? So, I decided to tell stories through my travel film series, My Great Escape. And if there is any budding filmmaker out there, listen closely, I'll be revealing all my secret sauces today. Now that I have understood what I wanted to do in life and why I wanted to do it, I had to figure out how to do it. So I started attending a film school. But not the kind you would expect me to do. My school's name was YouTube. And I did a lot of screenwriting courses from channels like Every Frame a Painting and understood what editing and VFX was from channels like Filmright and discovered this wonderful world of DIY filmmaking. DIY, or do it yourself. It's a philosophy which helps you modify and build things at lower cost without, compromising on the quality of the output. So, as a budding filmmaker, I used DIY and built all my filmmaking equipment with that. So, having explored all that, I went to a local hardware store and asked that guy for 50 feet of PVC pipes. And he was shocked as to what this guy is doing. And 50 feet is a lot, by the way. I took all those PVC pipes and created a camera slider, a shoulder mount, a lot of light stands, diffusion panels, and boom poles for the sound. And converted my living room and my bedroom into a home studio. It was my ground zero where I was experimenting a lot with my lights and understood what 3-point lighting system was. And I did a lot of practice in terms of my camera movements and all. And all this came in very handy to me because I wanted to become that one-man band filmmaker who knew everything about filmmaking and who could do everything by himself. By this time, I was making travel films and documentaries, and I wanted to get into narrative films. It was then that one of my friends, he sent me an article saying 15 years down the lane, wearing oxygen masks would be a common phenomenon across the globe because of global warming and rising CO2 levels in the air. And the fact that I cannot go outside my home without a mask really shook me. And at a time when global policy makers think climate change is a hoax, I wanted to tell a story about just that. But I didn't want it to be like a social interest advertisement of sorts. I wanted it to be innovative and tell people the gravity of the situation. So, I decided that I need to make a film in the genre of science fiction. And thus, the countdown was born. that was a short trailer of our film, The Countdown. And we did a lot of screenings of the film in and around Hyderabad and in various film festivals. And whenever I used to ask the audience to make a guess in terms of the budget of the film, their guesses would go up to 10-15 lakh rupees. But we completed the film in under 5,500 rupees. That is less than $75. And we did all that with the help of DIY filmmaking. We, cut down costs and, we brought it to such an extent that it was scalable and we can make multiple films in the same model. And once my idea for the film was conceived, I took about a day or two for research and completing the screenplay and another day for storyboarding entire shots for the film. And it was time for us to explore options in terms of the spacesuit that you saw in the film. And it turns out India doesn't make a lot of space movies. So we didn't have avenues from where we could directly rent a spacesuit and use it for our film. So we had to do it ourselves. So I started researching on what kind of spacesuits were used in Apollo missions in 1960s to the current ones used by Russian and Chinese astronauts. And I came up with my own design, and all my team, we went to an industrial store and bought a lot of industrial equipment and industrial jumpsuits and all with which we were trying to make a suit. And I had never tried stitching in my entire life, and there I was sitting for 5-6 days, spending 12 hours a day, until I hand-stitched the entire spacesuit by myself. And one of the most important things in a spacesuit was the helmet. So the look of the astronaut comes from the helmet, and if you don't get it right, the person would look like a janitor in a washroom because he's wearing orange. And I had to get it right. So I took an old bike helmet that was lying around at my home and spray painted it white and went to almost 30-40 stores around Hyderabad in order to get that perfect shaped visor, the glass visor, so that it would cover the entire face, and we had to heat form golden film on top of it. And the image that you see in the left is the costume that we have created for the film. And a couple of weeks after we completed it, ISRO announced that the spacesuit in the right image is the official Indian spacesuit from 2022 onwards. And we were really glad that ISRO took inspiration from our design. Just kidding. So once the suit was ready, I started doing research on the kind of places where we can shoot it so that it would emulate a hot, dry planet for the audience. And I approached a lot of mining companies to shoot in open cast mines and all for permissions. And after about a month, we got permission to shoot there for 2 days and completely free of cost because they liked our story and our approach to filmmaking. And we went there, but there were 2 challenges. Number one, we didn't do a location recce before going there. So we didn't know what to expect from the location. All we had was a storyboard on paper, and whenever we saw a matching location, we would get down, we would make all the shots, we would complete all the shots there, and later in the day, if we had found a better location, we would redo all the shots there. So that when we reached the editing table, we could have multiple variations to work with. And the second challenge was rain. It was shot in August last year, and being a monsoon season, it was completely heavily raining both the days. We were literally standing below our umbrellas waiting for the rain to stop so that we can go out and shoot something. And luckily we could complete all the shoot in the given 2 days of time. And the post-production of the film took us 2 weeks to complete. And I did the editing, color grading, sound design and VFX for the film. I use softwares like DaVinci Resolve and Blender, which are completely free for any beginner filmmaker to learn. And 1 week of pre-production, 72 hours of shoot, 2 weeks of post, and here's an independently made sci-fi short thriller, which was made in a completely, truly DIY way in a budget of $75. And the film was later premiered at Comic-Con Hyderabad. As soon as it was released online, it became viral on social media, and people from film fraternity started tweeting about it. The film got featured in various national newspapers, and till now it has been selected for 7 international film festivals. This film was an experiment for me, similar to all the life experiments that I keep doing. What it has taught me is that in order to tell a great story, you can do that irrespective of the budget you have and the size of the crew you have. All you need is a vision and the perseverance to pull it off. And a lot of my friends keep asking me, dude, you make films, you are into music, you like traveling, you are also into design and startups. How do you manage them all? And what I keep saying is that they are all not independent entities for me. They are all smaller pieces of a bigger puzzle. The puzzle of expression, the puzzle of expressing myself. And it's only when I combine all of them together that the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And I'm very grateful to that 6-year-old kid whose curiosity has led me till here in my life. And so I suggest everybody to always keep that silly kid inside you alive. Thank you.